and welcome to Cataclysm Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.cataclysm.com. My name is Jason JROCK Houston, and my special guest for today is guitarist Polychuck. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Yeah, and you're from Montreal, Canada. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Montreal, Canada.
And so what's the rock scene like up there these days?
With COVID, there's not a lot going on, honestly. Venues are open, but still they don't allow a lot of people in, so there's not much going on, but I think we're going to have the Foo Fighters at Osheaga, which is a huge festival. Yeah, so next year. So that's as far as the rock scene in Montreal, that's about it. Going on, yeah.
So now we're talking partly to you today because you got a new 2-song EP called Polychuck Part 2, Shadow Remains.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about why only 2 songs. That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it's Shadows Remain. It's actually like a B-side for the EP that I released a couple months ago. Actually, okay. It was in July, so it's like 6 months ago.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah, 5 months. Yeah, it's the 2 songs that originally didn't make the cut because they were a little bit more prog, for lack of a better. It's not prog per se. It's just a little bit more avant-garde. And I thought, you know what? Let's just do a B-side and let's just release 2 songs and see how that goes. And
what's been the response so far? I know it's only been out since last Friday, but it seems like you're getting a pretty good response.
Yeah, no, it's doing well. Honestly, my audience is responding well to it, especially because there's a lot of shred. So there's there's more shred than in my EP because my style, originally my EP, the style is more I kind of follow the format of the pop, just because I don't want to use the word pop, but there's this regular format, 3-minute song with a short solo at the end. This new EP has longer solos, a lot of shred, a lot of stuff, which my audience responds really well to.
Yeah, and that's the thing I want to kind of comment on is when I was listening to some of your songs, I mean, I was checking something out. You have up on your official site, like some of the, I think a blog or something. I was reading some of them, and in one of them it says, blend sounds of progressive rock, urban music, and metal. And I think that's kind of a good description. But the thing is, when you listen to it, you kind of really don't know what you're listening to. I'm kind of like, how do you kind of categorize it? It's a little bit of everything, but I think that's what makes it unique and different. If you had to kind of categorize yourself, is that something you think you can really even do?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I like to do because I really can't.
And that's cool. That's cool with me. Yeah.
And that's really cool. And it could be, when you explain it to somebody, it could be so many things. So I guess, the only way to really know what my style is to just go and listen to it.
I think.
It's just it's a mashup of all the influences all my biggest influences, and I'm a big fan of prog music. I'm a big fan of all genres, and it's just when you listen to a song, it's kind of like every influence is like with my playlist. My playlist would be on Spotify. I have
oh wow,
Post Malone, I have Dream Theater, I have Porcupine Tree, and you can hear a little bit of that in my songs,
Yeah, because the thing is, I'm a guy that typically likes, listens to, I should say, hard rock and metal. And here's the thing, is I also at the same time have appreciation from everything from Tom Petty to Eagles, because if you listen to any of those artists, I mean, they're great songwriters. They've got great songs. And so when I say you got elements of metal, I don't want people to think that you're sounding anything like Slayer, but it definitely has kind of a metal influence to what you do, and I think that has a lot to do with your guitar playing, probably.
Yeah. Man, the metal sound that people will hear in my music all comes from, shredders, like, obviously Kirk Hammett, these guys. A lot of emphasis is put on the guitar in my music because I'm a guitar teacher. I'm a shredder. So obviously that all comes from the metal, and I'm a huge fan of metal. You know, I listen to metal all the way from Metallica to you know, extreme metal. You know, I'm a big fan of Napalm Death.
Wow.
I was in death metal bands before. So yeah, but you know, yeah, you're right. It's not metal, and it's probably rock. You know, rock is very broad. So it's,
yeah. That's a broad term.
So I can say hard rock. You know, I like to say prog, although it's not prog per se.
Yeah.
But prog is just a way to say like rock, but pushing the boundaries a little bit. You know.
Yeah, like I don't know if you ever heard of the band Fate's Warning, but you know I've heard about this band for years, and then I got a chance to review their latest CD, and I'm thinking because you know Joey Vera's in it from Armored Saint, I'm thinking okay, they're a metal band, but much to my surprise when I listened to the CD, they're much more of a progressive rock band than what I thought they were.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'll definitely check them out.
Yeah. So I was saying too, you know, it's kind of cool that you got that kind of going with your music, because if somebody's hearing your music for the first time, and they might think like me, yeah, there's elements of metal in here, but there's also you know, other stuff in here, progressive stuff, shredding. There's elements of even kind of rap music, and I think that's a cool way to that's a cool way to kind of turn some of the metal fans on to some of this other stuff that you're influenced by.
Yeah, maybe. You know, I'm not a huge, I'm not the biggest fan of hip hop music. I don't know what, I'm not aware of every new thing that comes out. But I really like the sound. Sometimes I listen to beats and I like the 808 drums that I hear, and some drum loops and some synthesizer lines and stuff. So I get inspired by that. Although I'm not the biggest fan because I'm not aware of everything that's going on. But music for me, it's all music, it's all sounds, and I'm super inspired by sound.
Yeah, and blends of sounds. I mean, like you were saying in your blog, that kind of is a perfect kind of description for what you are. And you also got a video for the song "Scared," and talk a little bit about the video. It's a pretty cool video, and I kind of dig everything about that. I mean, that looks like something you would have seen on MTV back in the day.
It's actually Scarred.
Oh, Scarred. Okay, excuse me.
A scar. Yeah.
Okay, I misread that. Sorry.
No worries, man. Scarred. So the video is a little bit. It's kind of like a short movie. It's just. I want the story to be kind of nebulous, but still, a little bit scary at the same time. Because the song talks about actually the entire EP. Both EPs talks about dark aspects of the mind, of the psyche. And Scarred for me was about addiction and mental health, and that's really what's going on. In the video, there's a couple. They kind of take a wrong turn. They end up in this cabin, and a whole bunch of paranormal occurrences happen, and it's really all happening in the guy's mind. But
in regards to addiction, is that something you've ever personally dealt with, or do you know people that have dealt with addiction?
For me, yeah. So I was I've been sober for years, almost 6 years. But
congratulations!
Addiction was something I struggled with. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Addiction in my early 20s, from mid 20s. I dealt with that. I know people that are still struggling with it. So it's something that's important for me. But I didn't want to talk about addiction to make it clear in the music, in the lyrics about that. At first you could read it and just understand that it's someone having mental.
It could be a little bit of everything. But I was reading the press release, and it was saying that video specifically was about kind of dealing with ups and downs of addiction, and I think that's kind of a great topic to kind of try to discuss there in your music, because something a lot of people are going through currently, and then top out with mental illness. I live here in Los Angeles, and I can't tell you how many homeless people are dealing with that a day. People you see living on the street, and what they're going through. And let me ask, you're kind of having a little more success with your music these days. Do you think that's part of the reason? You got all this stuff going on that helps you to kind of stay off the drugs and that.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason why it's working now. I'm doing things that are going somewhere.
Yeah.
I had all these ideas before, and I had all these. I was motivated to do stuff. I've been playing guitar since I'm 7 years old. So
wow.
I was always writing music, and I've always been writing music, but the discipline that it takes and the determination that you need to really make something work, that's what I didn't have because of the addiction.
Wow.
I was actually playing in bands, and I was having some success playing in underground bands. I was actually a drummer for the band Dope Drones, a stoner sludge band. But I've been in all these bands, and I was having some success playing live and doing gigs, but nothing
like this
compared to what I'm experiencing now.
And talk a little bit about that. That's kind of interesting that you were, you were a drummer previously in one of the bands, and I know a lot of guys that they play more than one instrument, and that's kind of cool because then you have that perspective of what a drummer does, in the band, and much more than just a guitar player.
Yeah, that was almost 15 years ago.
Oh wow.
I was in a death metal band actually. It started out with me and the drummer for the death metal band. The band called Vatican. We released an EP. We had some success in the local scene.
Wow.
And then at some point the drummer said, "Hey man, let's switch instruments. Take the drums and I'll grab the guitar and let's jam." And it just turned into a band of itself, and it was Dope Drone. We ended up calling it Dope Drone. The guy was a huge fan of Electric Wizard and all those bands, Bongzilla.
Oh wow.
And we went out to do that, and they're still making shows. They're still making records and playing shows and stuff. And they became quite big actually.
So what led to you leaving? What led to you leaving the band? You just wanted to kind of do your own thing. Got to that point in life.
It was really, I needed to step away from all that drinking.
I got you. Yeah, okay. Well,
yeah.
More power to you. Just for having the know-how to do that. Because a lot of guys don't. And then talking about kind of the success you're having these days, I see that you got 25,000 followers on Instagram. That's not bad, man.
Oh man, I'm up to almost 41 now.
Oh wow, okay, so this needs to be updated, but so it's just a matter of weeks. Doubled. Wow.
yeah, almost doubled. It's all from my reels, which is the new format for Instagram. It's like the TikTok of Instagram. TikTok, we all know TikTok is like the biggest platform. The biggest social media nowadays.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hearing.
Reels is like the same kind of. Yeah, and I'm on TikTok as well, and I'm doing well on TikTok. It's because I post a lot of shred videos.
Yeah.
Just short clips of my music, guitar tips, and whatnot, and it just really fits the format. So.
Yeah, that's I guess the way to go because Facebook is even kind of what I say is a necessary evil. I'm on there, but they're trying to really get in the way of stuff. I mean, just something as simple as liking a band. I go to like a band. In fact, I think I was trying to like you on Facebook, and I get this message tells me, you have too many pages that you like. Delete some first, and I'm like, okay, whatever. but I'm still checking the bands out, Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of like I think if you're a musician or a band and you're not today in 2021, 2022, and you're not on TikTok or Instagram Reels, you're missing out. It's kind of like in the early 2000s, bands that were not. You had bands that literally blew up on MySpace. If you're not on MySpace, you were missing out. A lot of bands became huge just because of MySpace.
Yeah. I mean,
the same.
I'll tell you. I got my start on Facebook doing these interviews and stuff. And the thing is, as crazy as it sounds, I mean, that's like a graveyard now. You can't even get on MySpace, but that was really the model because they didn't get in the way like Facebook does. I mean, Facebook too. Somebody was telling me they were going to have a streaming event for their band, but then Facebook got in the way because they wanted to get some money. Because you're using our platform and we should be, we should make some money off of your event. So it's a shame that Facebook chooses to get in the way like that. But like you said, there are other places to go, which I think people are starting to find out about.
Yeah, I think because Facebook is becoming overcrowded, so now they feel like they can charge people
to do stuff.
Charge people in exchange for some organic views.
Yeah.
It's not going to show your posts. It's not going to show your videos to people unless you pay them.
Yeah.
But TikTok is so new that it needs to have more people. It needs to have more more users.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not there yet, but eventually it will be. So eventually people will have to pay. But now in 2022, if you're a musician not using TikTok, I mean TikTok, it's not the most fun. I mean, it's because you kind of need to understand the vibe, and most people that are on there are young, like a younger generation, much younger than me.
Yeah.
Like people early 20s, and teens. So you don't understand the vibe. It's kind of hard to get into it. Yeah. But it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of opportunities. So this is how I got all of my followers.
Wow. So let me ask you, in regards to the new EP and the one that came before, are you signed to a label or you release this stuff independently?
It's all independent, actually. Yeah.
And so
it's all independent.
I was going to ask, if people want to get physical CDs, can they, or is it just kind of available digitally, like everywhere that's doing that now? So people can't. I don't have physical copies. Okay.
Just because if I'm ever going to do physical copies of something, I think I'll do vinyl.
Yeah.
Rather than CDs, because I think for the same quality you get, on Spotify, you get the same quality, you get just a lot more convenience. You can listen to the song; it's the same quality. But I know there's a lot of people out there, especially in the rock and metal world, that still like to buy physical copies.
Yeah.
But as an independent artist, it's a little bit hard
to print them up. Yeah.
I mean,
because it's coming out of your pocket.
It's not hard, but it's a little bit of a gamble. If I print out 100 CDs, am I going to sell them out? I'm going to sell them all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody was telling me too, the thing with vinyl making a comeback kind of is it costs a lot to have the vinyl printed up, but at the same time, like somebody pays $25 or $30 for something on vinyl, the artist is making a little more money than what they used to back in the day,
Yeah, I mean, because I think the reason why people buy vinyl now is not necessarily to listen to the music, but they buy it to own it, to kind of have that piece of the physical thing.
In fact, I had a guy tell me that he didn't even own a turntable, but he's getting everything on vinyl just because he wants to have a vinyl collection. I'm like, wow, that's kind of far out there. Yeah, that's what people are doing.
That's now, yeah, exactly. I love to buy vinyls just because it's cool. And I have a turntable. I love to listen to music on vinyl, but especially old school prog like King Crimson and all that good stuff, Gentle Giant. But it just takes time, man. You got to go and you got to sit down and you got to put the thing on, and it's not as convenient as just nowadays you just grab your phone and say, "Hey Siri, play me the Beatles," and it just starts and it just plays in your stereo. You know what I mean? So the convenience is not the same, but it's still cool to own a vinyl. So that's probably what I would do if I were to do the physical copies.
Yeah, I would think too, as an artist, that's kind of cool to kind of. Back in the day when I was growing up, you did have you'd have these bands and they released stuff, on vinyl, tape, and CDs back in the day, and that's kind of been dying out, like you said. But as an artist, it's kind of cool to, okay, I recorded this, and now I got this physical copy of what, what I created in my hand. That's got to be a cool thing to do, And
exactly.
And so I was going to ask, so you mentioned that you've been playing guitar since the young age of 7. How did you start out? Was it something you were always into? Did your parents kind of push you into learning music?
Yeah, actually, I said 7, but actually it's 6 years old.
Oh wow!
My dad was a huge fan of the rock, prog, old school prog, and that's how I got into music.
Oh, cool.
But apparently, he was telling me that when I was a kid, I don't even remember that, I was always drawn to music, guitar toys and all that stuff. So eventually at 6, and I remember that day at 6 years old, he bought me a real guitar, but it was a small guitar for kids, but it was a real one, and I just really liked it, and I started. He showed me 3 chords, and I was playing. I really liked it, and then the year after, I started taking lessons, and so it's just been a lot of years that I've been playing guitar. At the age of 11, though, I bought a cassette. It was Metallica, Kill 'Em All.
Wow.
It was really the first like edgy music that I was hearing ever. And then just the first song, man, if you remember the first song, I think it's Hit the Light.
Yeah.
The solo lasts for like 2 minutes. And I was like, Jesus, what is this? And this is how I got really into shredding. And I knew when I was listening to that, I was like, man, I will be playing like that one day.
And you are now. Yeah. Wow. You've come a long way. And let me ask you, since Metallica is one of your first kind of influences, 2021 marks the 30th anniversary of the infamous Black Album, and people, had such a backlash album. They either love it or hate it. Where do you stand? Talking about, one of your first albums is Kill 'Em All, and then I guess you could kind of say the Black Album's kind of more of a pop album. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, I love the Black Album. Whatever musicians do, I mean, for me, it's a tough question, but I love the Black Album. The music is great. If it had a lot of commercial success, then that's awesome for them.
Yeah.
I don't think they sold out. I just think that they played the music that they wanted to play, and it turned out that a lot of people liked it.
Yeah, why not? See, that's what I wanted your opinion on, because there was a backlash to a certain extent, but I'm kind of with you that I dug the songs. They were all over MTV. Everybody was buying it. And it's not just because everybody, but I think even 30 years later, we're talking about 30 years later, those are the songs everybody's listening to still,
Yeah. Because, I get a lot of that kind of stuff too on my music. People say, oh man, you're just trying to be famous and be on the radio. That's why you use those hip-hop sounds and all that stuff. And I'm like, I feel that there's a lot of that in the metal scene and in the rock scene. There's a lot of like duality between what's underground and cool and underground and not underground and mainstream and not cool. And how whenever you have some kind of success or something that remotely resembles something mainstream, you're like, oh, you're a sellout. But I really don't like that mentality.
Yeah, and I dare ask any of those people, okay, if you had the opportunity to go in and make a record and it was climbing the charts and going mainstream, you wouldn't be happy with that, I think you'd take the money,
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me when Anthrax and Public Enemy got together. They did that cover of Bring the Noise. Now, what I loved about that,
Bring the Noise.
What I loved about that is it brought the metal world and the rap world kind of together. But the reason that was so authentic is Anthrax did not do that just simply to kind of because they were selling out. They were really into that music, and they were influenced by rap just as much as they were metal. So I think that's why that worked and was so accepted,
I think you can sense it when it's real and when it's not. Anthrax and Public Enemy, I'm not fully aware of the whole story, but I know they both came from New York, lower class, kind of hardcore scene, underground metal scene, and back then hip hop was also very underground. But I think you can kind of sense it when it's real and when it's not real. When it's more of an industry trick, cheap trick.
Yeah.
That was totally genuine.
And so you talked about you've been playing guitar since the age of 6, and so you reached this point in your career when you started really kind of having that kind of success and seeing, oh wow, my stuff is starting to sell. What was that feeling like? That must have been an awesome feeling.
Man, I still don't consider myself, extremely successful. I still consider myself super underground and still an undiscovered. Because a lot of people follow me for my guitar stuff, but often I get followers that comment on my stuff. Hey man, I didn't even know you played music. You released music.
Yeah.
I only thought you were a guitarist. So I still consider myself very new and underground and stuff. But I guess I'll be feeling like I want more success. I'll always be feeling like that. I always want, I want more success. I want more. Obviously, I want to tour. I want to have fun. I want to party with people. Sober party.
And so have you had the chance to do any live shows like outside of Montreal, or is that kind of where we're headed, or what we'd like to do next? I imagine.
I'd love if the COVID thing can settle a little bit. I'd love to tour. Obviously, maybe open for a bigger act on tour. Maybe in the States. I haven't played outside of Montreal ever. So I've only played in Montreal so far.
And
but it's like it's fairly new. My stuff has. Yeah.
I was just saying that's part of why we're doing the interview today, to kind of make more people aware of who you are and what you're doing. Because, like, I was just, when your publicist sent me the press release, I was kind of reading up on what it says in there, and I was checking out the video and everything, and I'm like, wow, this guy's quite impressive. I haven't heard of him, And so that's kind of what we hope to do with this interview. And
it's awesome.
And I was also reading on your blog that there was something about your dad told you that your hands should be insured. I think that's pretty cool. Talk a little bit about that.
My dad told me what? Sorry.
That your hands, could you use your hands, that they should be insured.
Oh, should be insured.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I also box and I do
martial
Muay
arts
Thai and stuff like that. Yeah, I do Muay Thai and a little bit of wrestling as well. I've done a couple of smoker fights, and people have been trying to tell me that I should insure my head. I don't know. Maybe I will.
It's a cool thought.
I never thought it was. Yeah, it's a cool thought, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. The thing that concerns me more about martial arts than my hands is really my brain.
Oh yeah.
That's something that. I've had a few concussions, and this is scarier than because I don't think I'll ever lose my hands or anything.
Yeah.
While boxing, I'm well protected. I got big gloves, hand wraps and stuff. But the head, I got hit in the head a few times, and when you feel the effect of I was never knocked out, but I had a few concussions, and when you feel like you're not fully, you kind of lose consciousness a little bit. I was never knocked out, but you have that feeling, that buzz in your head. That's really scary. That's like, oh shit, I can't, if I go dumb and I just stay like that for the rest of my life, it's not good. So that's scarier.
So how often do you compete professionally, doing martial arts stuff?
I don't compete. Actually, the fights that I've done were smoker fights.
Oh,
okay. Considered, so underground fights, and they're not sanctioned.
Yeah.
So it's all the same rules as a real fight.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I think the biggest difference between doing a concert and performing your music, people kind of cheering on, and you can tell right away if they're into your music or not. But when you're doing one of those fights, and maybe getting your ass kicked, or hopefully not, people are cheering as these two guys are kind of beating the crap out of each other. What's that like?
I'd rather be on stage and
yeah. That's what I was.
Music.
Yeah.
I like to practice martial arts because it gives me, it just makes me feel better, physically, mentally. It's a good, it's a good meditation, and it's a good way to, just take all of my anger out whenever I need to. It just makes me more disciplined, just a better person in general. But as far as performing in front of people, I'd rather be playing music.
I bet. And another thing I want to comment on your music is that I think it's kind of cool. When I was growing up, people, bands would go in the studios, and all the songs on the album have to sound like they kind of fit on one album, or and that's how it was done back in the day. Whereas kind of the modern model is you can just go in, record a song at a time, and it doesn't really matter if they sound like they fit together. And I do think that's a cool way of doing it because like, the song you have out now, it sounds a little different from the previous stuff, but I think that's cool that you don't have to kind of have that expectation that everything you put out has to sound exactly the same.
Yeah, because even the bigger artists, they generally nowadays they release a song at a time.
Yeah.
So they'll release a single and then promote the single. Just because now we have the ability to do that, it doesn't all have to be on one CD. It's on one physical object. It can just be a single at a time.
Yeah.
And that's what the single's about. And now the whole branding of the band revolves around that single, and then another single. And it gives you every time you release a single, it's another opportunity to grow your audience and just to make your audience more engaged. And it's just a really cool way
of doing it. Yeah.
About it. And then at the end when you have a few singles, 5 or even like 3 singles and more songs, you can put them all together into one album and release it as an album.
Yeah, and I mean,
at the end of the year or something.
I mean, you're a pretty new artist, so you kind of got it. But I dig the fact that there are a lot of bands out there that kind of just simply live on their catalog of music and say, nobody's buying CDs. We're not going to do this anymore. We're just going to go out there and do live shows. But I dig the fact that you're one of those artists that continue to get people know new music instead of just kind of living on what you've done. Because
well, I haven't really done much.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But
music.
And we hope
music is my favorite thing to do.
And we hope you don't get to that point, where you kind of just say, well, okay. Because I think what you're doing is pretty.
I don't know, because
cool.
What I enjoy the most is really writing music and writing stuff and exploring with sounds and trying stuff. So that's what I dig the most, because I haven't really had a lot of chances to perform live yet. I released my first EP in July. We were still right in the pandemic.
Wow.
We were in the 3rd or 4th wave or whatever.
Yeah.
Here in Canada.
Wow.
So I haven't really had a chance to play live. Obviously, I will enjoy playing live probably as much as I enjoy writing music. But for now, I'm having so much fun trying stuff and not following the rules, or just for lack of a better word, there are no rules in music.
Which is that's kind of a rock and roll way to do it, like saying there are no rules. Because I mean, I dig what you're saying to the point that you're at the point where you're kind of just creating your music and you're kind of developing your sound. And what's cool about doing it the modern way is back in the day, like I said, you go in the recording studio and you'd wait till you had like maybe 10 or 11 tracks and okay, this is the official release date and everything. You don't have to do that anymore. And the cool thing is, as you release these singles, right away, you post the stuff and you're able to see, how the fans are responding to it. And you're kind of like, okay,
exactly.
they're digging it or they're not digging it. And okay, we'll go in this, maybe we'll go in this direction. And that's kind of a cool thing. It's much easier to do.
Who likes it?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And you kind of see who likes it and who doesn't. And what's cool is, my song that just came out, Scarred, all the guitar fans and all the guitar shredders, they all love it. I had songs that were more, before, that were less focused on the shredding and more kind of catchy hooks and choruses. So it's a different audience, but they all still kind of, so they're all still there on Instagram, and it's just it's just a different vibe
than
before, and I really,
And I was going to ask you about the songwriting. Like, do you write everything on your own? Do you have any people that you write with, or?
Yeah, so I have for the music. Everything so far that I've released was like 100% me.
Oh,
even
cool.
the performance, everything was played by me.
Wow.
And even recorded and mixed and mastered by me.
Wow.
But for the lyrics, I work with somebody. I have a friend that's a better writer than me, and he helps me write, better lines. I come up with ideas, and he helps me write,
Well, more
poetic.
Yeah. We all need help, as they say, but the end result is what is important. And the reason I was asking is the vocals are you as well, right?
Yeah, everything's me.
Yeah,
everything that you hear is me.
Because here's the thing I want people to realize. When I was listening to this stuff, I'll be honest, my ear and my attention was like focused on the guitar playing, because that's just kind of what I'm kind of into. But I was really impressed by the vocals, and I want people to kind of hone in on that, because I think you're just as talented of a vocalist as you are a guitar player. What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I love singing, man. I love singing. I haven't put as much, effort into, learning how to sing as much as maybe the guitar. I practice guitar much more than singing, but I love singing. It's part of, it just feels as good as playing guitar.
That's kind of what I honed in on, I'm listening to it, and I think, I was thinking right away, this guy's probably known for his guitar playing, but the singing isn't, half bad. And what I dig about that, a lot of times, you could maybe get another guy to do the vocals, but I think part of what makes your music so authentic is you're the guy that created it. You write it, you do the guitar, you do everything. And so if you had somebody else maybe singing the songs that you wrote, I don't think it'd come across as authentic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, it would be more of a band than me as an artist.
Yeah.
Which is, what I want to do is just really make, yes, I'm a guitarist, but I want to be more of a composer.
Yeah.
So I kind of more of a maybe not a conductor, but I'm writing a piece of music, not just a song with a cool solo.
Yeah.
It's like the whole the music and as a whole. But actually, I said it's all me. But no, on the song "Scarred," I have a feature. There's a guy called Justice Hages, a 17-year-old kid, a TikTok shredder that's doing a solo feature on my song. So that's the only exception. Yeah.
And he's in the video, which that's pretty cool. What was it like having him in the video? And talk a little bit about the making of the video, because I think it's a pretty cool video.
Yeah. So we rented a cabin, in a remote area of Montreal, not Montreal. It was of Canada. Sorry. It was like a 2-hour drive from Montreal.
Wow.
And it took 2 days, almost no sleep. It was very hard, but it was a really cool experience, especially for him, Justice. He's 17 years old. I found him on TikTok. He's having a lot of success on TikTok as a just TikTok guitarist. And I kind of thought, if I give him a spot on my song, he will help me promote it on his, TikTok with his audience, with his younger audience. At the same time, it gives him the opportunity to be on, to be on a cool song. So
yeah.
And the experience was really fun, man. It was hard. We almost didn't sleep. We didn't eat very well, but it was all worth it. It was awesome. I can't imagine guys that go I'm thinking of filmmakers and people that make crazy movies. It must be really demanding.
Yeah, because it looks very professional looking. I urge people to go check out the video. I think they'll be equally impressed. To me, it looks like something you would have seen on MTV back in the day. It's that professional.
Yeah.
And in regards to Justin and his fan base, have you gotten much of a response from him? That's
gotten some, you know, new.
Followers.
I've seen some activity. Yeah, new followers, some new stuff. You know, but it's hard to see. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm getting comments from people that didn't comment before on my stuff.
Cool.
And you know, younger people, which I think it comes from him. So that's pretty cool.
And has there been talk between you and him of maybe like when you get to that point of doing live shows, that maybe you guys would do something together, like you know, do a live show or something?
Yeah, maybe.
That would be cool.
Yeah, totally.
And what was it like getting to know him? Because I mean, it's one thing to meet somebody online, but to kind of, you know, you have him in your video and you're face to face. That had to be cool, kind of getting to know each other.
Yeah, it was super cool. We obviously we have something in common. We both love shredding.
Yeah,
I'm almost twice his age, but we still you know, have a lot of fun and talk about music.
Yeah.
He's, you know, it's another generation.
Yeah.
It helps me to get to know him. Helps me to understand the world of TikTok and understand that new generation better, which is super cool. And
how cool? Yeah, how cool is that? Yeah. And you know, another thing about the internet.
It's just so,
you know, you're calling from Montreal today, and I imagine you get all kinds of messages from people all around the world, and that's got to be a super feeling, kind of thinking, I'm sitting in Montreal and somebody's, you know, listening to my music in part of the world I haven't even stepped foot in.
Yeah. And I look at my, you know, Spotify stats, and sometimes I see, you know, for the EP Shadows Exposed, the country it streamed the most was Brazil.
Oh, wow.
How cool is that?
Oh,
like, well, I would have never thought.
That is super cool.
Brazil was, I think Rio was the city where my song Exposure was the most streamed.
Oh, wow.
Awesome, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Why
you know,
Brazil?
just
I don't know.
you can pick up those stats like that, and you know, I got to tell people listening to this, as you say, you're kind of on your way up, I think, and you're just kind of creating your sound and everything, but you're in good company, because anybody listening to this, they should know that you happen to share the same publicist, and that's the person that set up an interview for us to do today, as Judas Priest, which I think, you know, says you're in good company there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And
I mean, he's awesome. He's been, you know, introducing me to all kinds of cool people, you know, like you. So I'm super glad.
Well, and let me just say before we wrap it up today, Polly, I really enjoyed talking to you, getting to know you, and I hope we can do it again. So let's stay in touch. And the interview we did today will be posted maybe about 2 weeks from now. I'll let you know. And Chip, the minute it goes up, you're welcome to post on any of your sites. Real quick question before we wrap it up. I was curious, you know, when you were just starting out, do you remember what was the first, you know, song by somebody else you learned to cover?
When I was like starting to play guitar?
Yeah, you know, like typically people, you know, you start out doing covers or learning other people's music before you get to the point where you are now, making your own music. I was just kind of curious, what's the first song you remember learning?
The first song that I remember learning is, Jesus, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, or
Cat Stevens. Cat Stevens. Where do the children play?
Oh wow, that's going back, but that's cool. Yeah. Your influences are all over the place.
Chords.
Yeah. That's super cool. Well, thanks again.
G major. Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I talk a little over you. I just kind of get into everything you said, but it's been great talking to you. So we will be in touch. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
You too.